Hello, it's Blue Orange 22. So I want to make a quick reaction to last night's Democratic debate, and specifically the feud between Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. If you haven't heard, I put some links down in the description below. Basically, apparently a year ago, Bernie Sanders told Elizabeth Warren in a private meeting that women can't win the presidential election, that a woman can't win the presidential election. And now it's being brought up, and Bernie Sanders is accused of being sexist for saying it. And last night, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders were asked about this, and Bernie Sanders denied it. And now a lot of people, he's basically saying that he never said that. And a lot of people are now angry at CNN because they say that the way that they phrased the question was very unfair to Bernie, and they were kind of assuming that it was true. Now, as for what actually happens, I have no idea. I wasn't at that meeting. Who's telling the truth, who's not, I really don't know. My own personal thoughts about what he said and what the men's rights movement would think, we would disagree with it. We think a man can win or a woman can win. And sometimes people think, would an MRA ever vote for a woman for president? Yes, absolutely. If the candidate I preferred was a woman, I'd vote for her. And that's kind of the point of this video. That's kind of what I find so interesting, is that for the reputation the men's rights movement has, we actually seem to be the most gender-neutral community and the most gender-neutral ideology of really anywhere that I've seen. And when I look at the reaction to this whole feud, and just in general, if you go to a Republican space or a conservative space, you'll hear people say that they think only men should be leaders because men are naturally better leaders. If you go to a feminist space, or a Democratic space, you'll hear some people say that, you know what, we should elect a woman no matter what. We should try and have more female politicians, and gender matters. And then again, for the Republicans who think that a man should be president, again, it's gender matters. The men's rights movement is one of the very few movements that I've come across that pretty much never say that about anything. We almost never think that gender should be used to judge somebody or to make a decision about somebody based on who you're going to vote for, or a law, or a program, or just how you see somebody as a person. But if you go to feminist spaces, if you go to conservative spaces, Democrat, Republican, whatever it is, you're going to see quite a lot of people with certain gendered ideas. Oh, this is men, this is women, we should treat them differently, we should think of them differently. Not everyone, I'm not saying everyone who's a feminist or Republican thinks like that, but there are a lot of people in most spaces that have these gendered ideas about men and about women. And the men's rights movement seems to be one of the very few places that I've come across that almost never thinks that. We are completely gender neutral in our beliefs about how people should be treated, how people should be judged, how people should be spoken to. And there are many women who are MRAs. Some of the most famous MRAs are actually women. Cassie J, who produced the Red Pill documentary, which, by the way, doesn't really have anything to do with the Red Pill subreddit. It's not the same thing. Karen Strawn, Girl Writes What? Very famous, prominent MRA. They're women, and they're basically treated exactly the same. They're just humans who say things that other MRAs agree with, and so we like them. And that's really all there is to it. So that's just kind of an interesting observation I have about that. Now, my reaction to the national championship game, I mean, what is there to say? I mean, I've been saying it for a long time. Joe Burrow is obviously the real deal. I think he's going to have a very long, successful career in the NFL. Also, as a drummer, this is very sad for me, but I have to say rest in peace to Neil Peart of Rush, one of my favorite drummers growing up. I used to love playing his songs, Rush songs, and I was lucky enough to see them live in concert. It was one of the best concerts I've ever seen. But I did put a few links to this Bernie Sanders story in the description below. Tell me what you think.